There is a lot of controversy around demonic possessions, from people saying that it's actually real to others actually saying that it's some form of mental illness. Either way, these 5 cases of demonic possession will leave you feeling that these could be potentially real, and if not, it's a damn good mental illness that I want no part of. Hello and welcome back, or welcome to my channel. If you don't know what's going on here, don't worry, I don't either, and I question myself every day. But I am a horror artist and I like to draw what I talk about in the videos. Now, I like scary facts, true crimes, anything to do with the paranormal, aliens, you know, all that kind of good stuff. And I like to draw, so I like to combine all of that into these videos to hopefully bring you a unique experience. Now, if you want to support me in any way, shape or form, I do have a Redbubble store that I put all my prints onto, so you can purchase a print of what I do draw in these videos. And if you are a creative person, I do have an Etsy store where I create felt toy patterns. So you can download one of them and you can make your own felt toy. I have horror characters on there, I've got my own designs on there, and I just recently did Hannibal Lecter. So that's my new one. Very simple one. So you know, just head across there and have a look. Knock yourself out. With that being said, let's get on with the video and let's get on with the drawing. In January of 1949, a 13-year-old boy named Roland Doe, but was also known as Roland Hunkler, started showing signs of bizarre and disturbing behaviour. The family lived in Cottage City, Maryland, and Roland was apparently normal throughout the daytime, but at night, this was when Roland would go into a trance-like state, scream and make sounds that sounded like a demon. He would end up with red scratches and lines all over his body. His parents were terrified and beside themselves on what to do with Roland, as doctors could not find anything wrong. Now let's delve a little bit further into this case. Now apparently all of this came about shortly after Roland's auntie Harriet died. She was apparently a spiritualist that taught Roland how to use a Ouija board. Roland started experiencing scratching sounds in his room, pipes leaking water, and his mattress and bed would move around. Father Edward Hughes was the local priest that wanted to perform the exorcism and was granted permission from the Catholic Church. Roland was strapped to his bed and Albert started reading his rites, but Roland ended up getting free and broke off a mattress spring and slashed Edward across his shoulders with it. A few days later, apparently the word Lois appeared on Roland's body, so the family took this as a sign to go to St. Louis, to relatives there, to seek help. The family got in touch with Father Walter H. Halloran and Reverend William Bowden, the Jesuits that agreed to do the exorcism. These two priests, with some others that came to help, witnessed the same thing that Albert witnessed back in Maryland, but they saw objects move around the room other than just the bed. This whole ordeal lasted 1 week, with the priests suspecting 10 demons possessing Roland due to the X that showed up on his chest, which meant 10 in Roman numerals. Over a few months, red fork marks ran down Roland's legs, and he even urinated all over his bed while shouting profanities at the priests. They took him to Alexian Brothers Hospital for treatment on the 21st of March, and on the 18th of April, after the priest laid holy relics on him, they told the demons in Roland that St. Michael will deal with his all and save the boy's soul. All of a sudden, Roland returned and recalled the vision of St. Michael saving him. Nothing ever happened again, and Roland went on to live a relatively normal life. This case went on to inspire the 1973 horror movie The Exorcist, but they changed the child to a 12-year-old girl named Regan. The hospital room where Roland had his exorcism in was boarded up and sealed, but the hospital was torn down in 1978. Roland died on the 10th of May 2010 at 85 years old. As an adult, Roland worked at NASA and was an engineer that contributed to the Apollo space missions in the 60s, but apparently he did live and worry about people finding out that he inspired the movie. Was what happened to Roland nothing but a mental illness? A prank that Roland played on his family, as some have suggested? Or did Roland play with the Ouija board and brought something or some things through when trying to contact his auntie after she died? What do you think? Anneliese Michel was born on the 21st of September 1952 in Labelfing, Bavaria, Germany, and when she was 16 years old, she started experiencing seizures and was diagnosed with temporal lobe epilepsy. She would go into trance-like states and walk around and not know what she was doing or what she had done when she came out of them. Anneliese and her family, that consisted of herself, her parents and 3 sisters, were heavily religious and would attend Mass twice a week. Anneliese continued to have seizures, hear voices, and black out into trances, so her doctor put her on medication to help with the epilepsy, but unfortunately this did nothing, and her condition started to deteriorate over the year in 1973, when she attended the University of Wurzburg. Anneliese believed she was possessed by a demon, and everywhere she went, she would see the face of the devil. Voices that she would hear would tell her that she was damned and that she would rot in hell. She developed depression and hallucinations while praying. She was on pharmacological drugs for 5 years, which did not help at all. She started to be repulsed by crucifixes and couldn't walk past them or drink holy water. Her family and community became absolutely convinced that she was possessed, so they sought after priests to perform the exorcism on her. Approval was required by the Catholic Church to perform exorcisms, which was granted because Anneliese met the strict criteria of possible possession. Anneliese started getting worse physically and was becoming aggressive, injuring herself by breaking her knees from continually praying and squatting hard on the floor 400 times, drinking her own urine and eating insects. Her voice changed to a growling tone when she spoke. Father Ernest Alt would not perform the exorcism, but urged local bishop Joseph Stengel to approve someone to do one, and he did. Father Arnold Renz would do it, but in secrecy. Arnold started his first exorcism on the 24th of September 1975, and all doctors' visits, advice and meds were stopped, so all faith went into the exorcism rites. Arnold believed that Anneliese identified the demons possessing her as Lucifer, Cain, Judas Iscariot, Adolf Hitler, Nero, and Fleischmann, who was a disgraced priest. Over roughly 10 months across 1975 and 1976, with 1 or 2 sessions per week at 4 hours per session, Arnold performed 76 exorcisms, but by the end of it all, Anneliese was malnourished and refusing food. On the 1st of July 1976, Anneliese died at the age of 23. She died from malnutrition and dehydration over nearly a year. She only weighed 30 kilos and couldn't walk anywhere without assistance. Anneliese's parents, Father Ernest Alt and Arnold Renz, were charged with negligent homicide. The priests were only charged and not jailed, and her parents were exempt from any charges, stating that they had suffered enough under the German law ruling. Was Anneliese really possessed, or was she suffering from a mental illness that brought on manifestations of demonic possession from a strict religious upbringing? Could possession be a form of mental illness that hasn't been fully named or recognized, maybe a severe form of schizophrenia? This case of Anneliese was turned into a movie in 2005 called The Exorcism of Emily Rose. Anna Ecklund, or Emma Schmidt, as her apparent real name may have been, was born on the 23rd of March 1882 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and seemed like a normal Catholic girl, but when she got older and in 1928, when she was 46, she began to show signs of demonic possession, which included not liking religious objects, did unspeakable sexual acts, and had disturbing thoughts. But the scary thing was that apparently Anna had actually been suffering from supposed demonic possession since she was 14. She was submitted to Father Theophilus Reisinger at a convent in Erling, Iowa, who had apparently successfully exorcised 19 people prior. So Theophilus began his exorcisms on Anna that lasted 23 days all up, over 3 sessions beginning on the 18th of August 1928. Theophilus recalls Anna unstrapping herself from her bed, launching across the room and clinging to the door frame in a cat-like position where she howled and levitated, and Theophilus just continued to read the rites to Anna and ignored any action that she did. Theophilus said that Anna was possessed by her sexually abusive father, who allegedly wanted an incest relationship with his own daughter, and apparently she was also possessed by the murderous mistress, Beelzebub, her auntie Mina, who was a witch, and another apparent lover of Anna's father, who apparently killed 4 of her own children, and Iscariot. During the 23 days, Anna's body started to deteriorate as she refused food and vomited weird substances that looked like leaves, even though she hadn't eaten anything. She even knew when the nuns in the convent had blessed the food with holy water, even though Anna would not have had any idea as she was locked up in her room. When Anna would speak in tongue, she didn't open her mouth, and was documented that the voices were coming out of her skin from within. On the last day of the exorcism on the 22nd of December 1928, Theophilus performed his last part of the exorcism where Anna apparently levitated off the bed. Theophilus visioned flames surrounding the last demons that possessed Anna, which was Lucifer and Beelzebub, and telling them to go back to hell. The room apparently shook and then fell silent. Anna had fallen back onto the bed, opened her eyes and said, "My Jesus mercy, praise be Jesus Christ." All demons had left and the possession and exorcism was over. After this, Anna's life apparently returned to normal, and she had a few smaller possessions after, but it was nothing that she couldn't handle. She returned to the convent 4 months later to thank everybody involved, but some of the nuns had gone as the exorcism had taken a toll on most involved. This case of Anna Ecklund is one of the most well-documented exorcisms in history and was made into a pamphlet by Father Karl Vogel in 1936 called Satan Be Gone. Anna died on the 23rd of July 1941 at the age of 59. In 2016, a movie called The Exorcism of Anna Ecklund was released based on the true facts of the exorcism. David Berkowitz, who was also known as Son of Sam or the 44 caliber killer, was an American serial killer born on the 1st of June 1953 in Brooklyn, New York. He was actually born Richard David Falco, but was given up by his parents to the Berkowitz family, who just reversed his middle name and first name. His childhood was troubled, filled with being an absolute pyro, which is someone who starts fires, petty larceny, and suffered from head injuries as well. At 17, he joined the US Army, but was honorably discharged in 1974. He was apparently an excellent marksman. He got in contact with his birth mother that ended up destroying him after he learnt of his mother's rejection and the death of his real father. His adoptive mother died from breast cancer, and his adoptive father remarried and moved to Florida without him. His behavior became erratic, rebellious, and intensified after this. He allegedly started 1,500 fires across New York City, and then in 1975 he tried to kill a woman, but she survived after David stabbed her several times. At this point, David was apparently being told by a demon to kill people. In 1976, he successfully murdered his first victim, 18-year-old Donna Laura, in a car with her friend Jodie Valenti, who survived, and over the next year, he claimed 5 people's lives, attacking women or couples that were not necessarily boyfriend and girlfriend. He ended up sending letters to the New York newspapers, signing them with Son of Sam, which was apparently the demon that lived in his neighbor, Sam Carr's Black Labrador. David plunged the city of New York into panic after shooting and killing 6 people and injuring 7 with a .44 caliber gun, and the police couldn't work out who it was. He was targeting young women and couples sitting in their cars. After some careful and intricate investigation work, David was caught on the 10th of August 1977 and sentenced to 25 years to life in 1978 with possible parole in 2002. As of today, he has been rejected to be released. David was apparently into satanic stuff when he was killing in the 70s and is now a Christian that is remorseful for what he did. He was just angry at women and a world that had rejected him. But hey, no excuses. He is currently still alive and is 71 years old as of 2024. Michael Taylor was born on the 21st of September 1944 in England and lived in Ossett, West Yorkshire later on in life and worked as a butcher. Michael and his wife Christine were part of a church called the Gorba Christian Fellowship, even though they weren't overly religious, but they enjoyed the community, as Michael suffered from depression and chronic pain from a back injury. But Michael began having feelings for a lay preacher, 21-year-old, named Marie Robinson, and Michael was 31 at the time. Marie rejected him, and then this is when Michael changed. He yelled and hit Marie, and this led the church deciding to perform an exorcism on Michael as they thought that he was possessed by the devil. They restrained Michael and spent hours that night trying to exorcise 40 demons from Michael and thought that they succeeded at the event with only 3 minor demons remaining that they would tackle the next day. So they let Michael and Christina go home, but this is when it turned real bad. Michael attacked his wife Christine by ripping her eyes and tongue out with his bare hands. He killed her via strangulation and then killed and dismembered their poodle. He was arrested after he was found in the street naked and covered in blood, and he told police that he felt a force within him to kill anything living inside the house. The so-called exorcism had failed. Michael went to trial in 1975 and was acquitted of the murders on grounds that he was batshit insane and was sent to Broadmoor Hospital in the psychiatric ward for 4 years before being released. He has, since he's released, tried to unalive himself 4 times and in 2005 was arrested again for interacting inappropriately with a child. Michael and Christine had 5 kids of their own, and Michael is apparently still alive today at the age of 80. Was mental illness to blame here, or was Michael really possessed? So let me know your thoughts on these cases that I talk about today. I think some of them are bullshit, and I think some of them were mental illness, and I think there was a couple that were real. I think the Anna Ecklund one and the Anneliese one, I think they were definitely real. The rest I think were mental illness or an excuse to get out of the predicament that they were in. But anyway, let me know what you think about this down in the comment section below. Now, the illustration that I decided to do for this video today is not my favorite. I do like the body that I did, but I don't like the 3 heads. I don't know. Something's a little bit weird with them, but I did my best to come up with a vision of my interpretation of a body that is possessed, and these are just so-called 3 entities that possess this particular body, and there's a couple more stakes in it where there could be more possessions of, you know, demons to go into this body, if that makes sense. But yeah, overall, not overly happy with this one. There are some elements I like. But anyway, that is it from me. Hopefully you enjoyed this video today, and if you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. Dislike it, I couldn't care less what you do, because any interaction you give me goes towards the algorithm for other people to find me. And hopefully I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.